For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culture PlayStation podcast. Over 40 years of playing PlayStation and 6+ years in that games media combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, please check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, all our links below us.
If you want to join us as the conversation happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures where you can watch us record this show live, where you can get in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are watching us, listening to us on the podcast service, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. Or if you're on the YouTube, why not like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And of course, if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Speaking of, Max, your shirts are on the way.
Oh, wonderful.
They are on the way. So I did finally, I think I told you a couple weeks ago that I put the order in, so now you can be decked out.
And now they're just going to go from Melbourne to Sydney for a couple of
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
loop the country and then come back.
Yeah. That's kind of the plan. That's what I was kind of going for.
We're sending them on tour. We're sending them on tour before we do. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks before Christmas. Everything's starting to wind down. Next week's my last week at work for the year.
Lucky you.
I'm just like, just fuck it. I'm starting to wind down. How are you this week?
Yeah, it's been an alright week. Today's been just a everything's 45 minutes out of whack, because our first appointment was supposed to be at 11 for some land contract signing, and we've got some more to do this afternoon, hopefully. Assuming everything goes well. But the guy rocked up 45 minutes late, so we're now all 45 minutes out of whack. And there's just so much to do, so little time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Speaking of time, though, one thing we should mention is we'll get this right off the start of the show. Now, if you are someone that does join us live on the Twitch, that's normally on a Saturday at 4 p.m. Today we're half an hour early because of those original appointments. Secondly, next week we will be recording on Sunday. That is Sunday the 20th of December, 4 p.m. Is that good for you?
Hopefully. We're going to the zoo Sunday morning. So
all right, we'll aim for 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Reason being, Max's daughter is having her birthday on the Saturday, and I'm invited. So we're going to do that. We're going to go do that instead. But we still will do it because next week is our last show of the year. Yep. We will be doing our Game of the Year, which being all our little categories and stuff that we've done over the last couple of years. So that should be a good bit of fun. We'd love for you to all be there, become part of the show, and let us know what. I'll put all the categories up on the Facebook group, so you can sort of jump in and contribute, or on social medias and stuff as well. If you want to let us know what you think of your games of the year and stuff. Now, we'll combine the two things here. So, are we going to call Cyberpunk in our Game of Year conversation?
I mean, we can.
I'm saying, are we doing it? Are we allowing it?
I mean, yes. I don't.
Sweet. Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to be Game of the Year. I don't know if it's going to get talked about. But.
Well, no, I mean, like for us, because I guess our you know how like Game Awards had the cutoff. Yeah. Like, is our cutoff just literally before Sunday of next week?
Yeah.
Ah, sweet. Because it gives us more time to like really work it out. But anyway,
we can set our cutoff for the 31st of December and just predict if a game's going to be good before it comes out. Like, it's that one. It's the one that comes out Boxing Day.
Yeah, that's why most people probably would have done that with Cyberpunk until they played it. Anyway, let's get into what we have been playing. It's pretty much there's two games that we've been playing this week. So for me specifically, so I finally started playing Sackboy's Big Adventure. So this was one of the codes that we received from PlayStation on launch day. So big thank you to that. But because the PS5 overheated, I couldn't play it, and then I've been playing catch up with all the games that we were meant to. Like I still haven't touched Devil May Cry yet. Oof.
Oh, dude, you got to. It's so good.
I know. I just still haven't got there yet. But yes, Sackboy's Big Adventure is great. And its simplest way to explain it, it's like a 3D Mario Land, but with Sackboy. And it's cool. Like, it's aesthetically incredibly pleasing. All the minor details are just like Sackboy's texture. What are you chuckling at?
Sorry, I just read the chat and Reverend Parks just like burst through the door. It's like, okay, boys.
He was here like 2 hours ago waiting outside. I randomly... Fun fact, everyone. So I was prepping the show, getting it all ready. I pulled up Twitch to like change all the titles and stuff before we got to start recording. And I see a chat from Puck at like 1 o'clock this afternoon. He's like, "Here, ready to go, so I don't miss it." That was 2 hours ago.
After all the shade I threw at him last week, he's just like,
I'm waiting for him to dish it back out at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it has that 3D land Mario sort of feel to it. It's that 2.5D camera angle, and you run around, you're jumping and bopping and punching and slapping and do it. And it looks fantastic. It's all in that sort of like handmade, sort of crafted together world that Sackboy gives.
I was going to say, is it similar to that of like, to go to another platform like Yoshi's Yarn Adventure?
Is that 2.5D or is that side scroller? But yeah, similar, very similar.
It's kind of fake 2.5D because like you can move backwards and forwards in the 2D side scrolling.
No, so it is like that top down sort of.
Okay, cool.
That's the
like
2.5D.
An isometric style.
Yeah, isometric is probably the best, actually the most accurate word. But in terms of Yoshi, it's the same thing because he's a little Hessian boy up there. Yeah. There he is. But the detail on it is absolutely fantastic. There are moments when they zoom in on Sackboy, I'm like, Jesus, you look so good. And I'm genuinely baffled by just how good the Sackboy looks. Gameplay is really fun. It's simple. It's intuitive. So I was playing it in here with my son earlier, and he cleared like 3 levels in about 15 minutes just because he could.
Yep.
Like he's just like and my wife was in here as well. She's like, "Did he see you play these levels?" I'm like, "No." Like, there's only one that he saw, and I didn't think he played that level. He just proceeded to just run through it and like work out. He worked out how to slap, and then he worked out how to like you do the pulling systems and stuff like that. All just by fiddling with the controller. So big shout out to the team over at Sumo for like getting that together and giving it such that feel like that a 4-year-old can pick it up and play it and have a really good time. Like that's such a rarity with games. Yeah. Because I'm right now, as my son is getting more and more into video games, along with my like to share with me. So I'm constantly looking at games that he will enjoy, or he'll be able to play, being so young. So obviously, as I discussed before, like Goose Game was great. Obviously, the Paw Patrol games are great. My dad gave him Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 for his birthday, and he can play it, but it's like that one step too far because there needs to be that understanding of mission structure and going collecting and choosing the right character for the job. Like it's a little bit too far ahead of him. But once you can get in those little like open world parts where you can just like swing around and not really do a whole lot, that's where he has the most fun. Like he knows how to get in and out and change characters, and he just runs around and punches cars and stuff, and he has a great time. But where this would be that next step, and it's a local multi, so we could play it together. I wouldn't because he'd be shithouse. But yeah, like because I'd want to achieve the objectives and get all the bells and like try 100% a level.
It's called a handicap.
Yeah. No, we tried. What did we try to play together? We tried to play Paw Patrol together. It was something.
Yeah.
It was something.
I don't play games with my wife anymore. Mario Kart nearly ruined our marriage.
Like I think I'm not really. I don't play a lot of games with my wife. Because I feel it would go poorly. To just straight up.
Yeah.
Because I have no patience, and she would also have no patience because I'll be trying to get her to do something. She's like, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to do this. I'm like, yes, but I'm trying to do this, and it would just not go well. And it's going well at all. But the game is great, and I'm gonna finish it up. I'm gonna give it a red hot go. I ain't gonna plat it because I was listening to another PlayStation show here in Australia called Platinum Explosion, and they were talking about what it took to get the platinum for the game. because they're a lot more trophy focused than the likes of us. And they talked about the big challenge run at the end and how it took them like 6 hours. I'm like, get fucked. I am not doing that. That is way too much effort for a trophy.
So what is the challenge run?
So there are these little like essentially little challenge rooms throughout each world. Easiest way to explain it. And then at the end of the game, there's one run, and it's all the challenge worlds together, and you can't die. If you die, it starts again.
So it's like a boss rush in a
it becomes a massive boss rush at the end. And
that's
like,
cool.
You've got to get it in X amount of time, while also not dying.
I might have to play Sackboy. That sounds great.
Yeah,
that sounds like right up my alley.
It sounds fun until I realize that I can't do it. Like I know my limitations. I'm very aware, very aware. So yeah, I'll have more to say about that. Hopefully next week, because like that's what I'm gonna kind of spend some time with when I'm not playing Cyberpunk 2077. So this week, obviously, that's the big game. That's the big release of this month. Maybe one of the biggest releases of this year. So
definitely one of the most anticipated.
It's certainly the most anticipated games this year. So we were very lucky. I was able to play it a day early. Thanks to the team over at Bandai Namco Australia. So they provided us a review code, which allowed me to stream it the night before, which was awesome, as well as be playing it over the last couple of days. You said you were playing it on the shared account, and then you went and grabbed it yourself.
Yep, I went and picked up my copy the next morning.
Yep, so we're both playing on PS4 obviously, but we are playing it on PS5s. So we're playing the PS4 version on a PS5, if only to really fucking confuse you.
Yeah, so we're playing it via backwards compatibility on the PS5.
I've been talking a lot. You've run with it. Tell us a bit about Cyberpunk.
So, yeah, obviously, like I said, Cyberpunk being one of the most anticipated games of this year after being delayed three times.
Yep.
From
April
all the way through to September, then again to November, then again till December. No, not just yes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been a long year. So, yeah, Cyberpunk. I was obviously out of the two of us, I was the more keen on this game. I'm not at home, but over the last couple of weeks, you'll have seen me recording from home. I sit on a massive Cyberpunk themed chair.
The big yellow secret labs bastard.
You know, I'm very keen for this game. I've played the tabletop RPG of this game, so I kind of know some of the lore behind it. Going in, what's the word I'm looking for? My experiences so far with this game have been good, not great. Had a few hard crashes that have just completely shut my console down. Had to reboot it. I've had some hilarious bugs where I've equipped pants and the pants just don't exist and it took my genitals away. That was weird. I've had some friends send me photos of some of their interesting graphical bugs that they've had where their breasts have been too big for their t-shirts and they just stick out.
Yeah, it's like Mean Girls.
Yeah, I was going to say like Janet Jackson at the...
Oh, I like how what we've done is both just really age ourselves. Like for you it was Janet Jackson's nip slip. For me it was the scene in Mean Girls where they cut off the front of her singlet and then it becomes a trend in the school because I fucking love that movie.
Obviously... I find a lot of the graphical bugs to be in good humor, so it's not really taking away from the experience and the pleasure I'm having from playing this game. Obviously, the hard crashes have been rough. I've had 3 so far, and they happen when I've been playing the game for a prolonged time, and there is either a location swap or something's loading for this, like a story cutscene or something. That's when it'll crash. It'll be like, hey, you've been playing this for too long. I don't know if it's running out of internal memory and it's like, nah, you need to reboot me so I can...
Like recache itself.
Yeah. So one time I was actually sitting AFK. I'd gone to go and get something, help my wife with something. And I came back 10 minutes later and my game had crashed. And I'd just been standing there. It's just like, no, this is too much for me. Peaced out. But again, they're minor inconveniences. The game autosaves so often. So I think I lost in total... of the 3 crashes, maybe 4 minutes of actual gameplay that I just skipped those cutscenes the next time I was in them, which was fine. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
So comparatively, I myself had very limited to no interest in playing this game, mostly because I was probably really very similar to Bugsnax. I was just anti-hype. Like the fact that everyone had such a boner for it made me not care about it at all, which is probably the weird attitude to have. It's kind of disliking it in spite.
Yeah.
But we still, I'm like, we'll still do the right thing. We'll still review it. Max is pretty keen for it. Max isn't, doesn't have poor taste in games.
Questionable, perhaps.
Yeah, sometimes questionable, but like normally is pretty on board. So yeah, we'll run around the game. So in the game, you play a character called V, which can be male, female, or non-binary. That is entirely up to you. Where you have returned to Night City after some time away. You had been in Atlantic City, I believe it was, or Atlanta, one of the two. And yeah, you've returned after a window of time, and you get involved in this little mission-y thing where you meet a character named Jackie. And that's where sort of things kick into gear, and you get a time jump for 6 months, and then it's as if you've not left, and you are now ingrained in the Night City underground in terms of the mercenary style, and that's pretty much it. You just start moving forward from there, and you start spreading out into the city, doing a series of tasks.
So which backstory did you pick? Because you get a choice of Corpo, Nomad, and Street Kids.
So I picked Street Kids. So mostly because I like the idea of having streetwise, because I imagine I'd be spending a lot of time in the city. I thought it would be advantageous for me to have some streetwise.
Yep. So just out of curiosity, have you run into any dialogue options that have given you a benefit from being a street kid yet?
Yes.
Because I picked Corpo, and in almost every single conversation I've had in the run-up of the first few story missions, I've had Corpo options to be like, this is how it's going to get done.
Yeah, so I've 100% had streetwise options in dialogue where I can like alter a conversation or get more information. I was like, I'm not going to tell you shit, and I poop, which is fun. So I've gotten this streetwise. The title of this pod is "We Were Wrong About Cyberpunk." Mostly me, because I thought I would hate it. I thought it would be garbage. I thought it would be absolute wank. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm enjoying it a lot. Like, I got really suckered into the story. So I am about 7-ish hours in. How deep are you at this point?
I'm about 9 hours
but you
in,
fucked
but
around, though.
I also started the game twice because I bought my own copy, so I swapped from using the PopC account to my own.
Yeah,
so I lost 2.5 hours of gameplay there, and then went back and started again.
Yeah, so I'm about 7 hours, and I also streamed the entire part of it because that was awesome. For me, I'm just enjoying streaming it, even though like everyone's streaming it, everyone has their own copy, so why would they watch someone play it? I'm like, fuck, it keeps me accountable. So like if I play it, I can talk about it.
So just for reference, because obviously you've been streaming it, everyone knows what your character looks like. Mine is basically one of the twins from The Matrix 2. I got like sick dreads, gaunt face. I'm just looking for one of those jackets, and I'm it could be good to go.
I just tried to make a cyberpunky version of myself. That was kind of my plan, because I'm very lazy when it comes to games. But as I said, the title of this podcast is "We Were Wrong," and I was wrong. There were some things I was certainly right about, with it being a fucking mess in terms of performance. Because like if you go back to say last week's episode, where I did spend a big hunk of that time, sort of talking about how we should be 100% concerned that it was days before release and no console versions were out in the wild. Now, we received our review copy the day before, which is fine, but that's not enough time to like fucking play it, let alone be ready for a review. We did additionally receive it after the embargo drop, and no one was getting console copies prior to embargo. So we were talking to Bandai about it, and they're like, yeah, it's not happening. It's just like, you got PC? I'm like, dude, my PC fucking sucks. Like, I can't play it.
Yeah.
So they were my point of concerns. My concerns that it would be an absolute fucking disaster, and I had a feeling that it would fall under like that sophomore album effect, where it would be unable to compare to what its previous work was, which was The Witcher.
Yeah.
In this case, and I think in some ways it has not quite lived up to The Witcher, but in some ways I think that it has, because I'm enjoying it a lot more than I did The Witcher.
I mean, I think you're enjoying the setting of the game much more than what The Witcher was. But from memory, I'm pretty sure The Witcher launched and it was a bit of a hot mess at launch.
It probably was. Everyone kind of forgets, though.
Yeah.
But, so as I said, like, willing to admit that I was wrong. I'm genuinely surprised that I'm enjoying it. And I'm also very happy to say that I'm enjoying it. Because, as I said, like 7 hours in, I haven't seen the title screen yet. Apparently, it does come, but I haven't seen it yet. I've played predominantly the main campaign. I've done a couple side... so right now I'm just doing a couple of side missions to sort of like fill out the world a little bit. So for some reviews that I read were talking about how a lot of the character development comes through those side missions, and I'm really enjoying some of the characters that we're seeing here. So I wanted to flesh them out. Jackie, it was instant. It took me a while. I was like, should I feel for this guy? And then as we started playing him and we're getting involved with him, I really started enjoying him as a character. So he's a friend of V, your character V. So a little bit, there's something that happens to him a little bit early on. There's only a couple of hours in the game, and I was emotionally distraught. Like, not distraught's probably a bit high, but like I was fucking taken aback, and I was sad. I actually, if you watch the stream, you'll see me like just not talk for like 10 minutes because I'm processing, and then after, like, spoilers, he dies. I'm just gonna fucking, like, it's 3 hours in and I can't be like, I was sad. Why was I sad? Oh, he dies. So there's a big emotional moment, a little bit. I know. I'm sorry. And then so there's a side mission where you go to essentially his funeral, right?
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
Wait, what? So...
That was the worst spoiler tag I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, fucking spoilers, there you go. So you go to his little funeral memorial thing, and his mum's there, and his mum, who you only see in this one scene, is... I did say spoiler. It's so good. She was brilliant, and that's the only time you see her, and you will never see her again. And they fleshed her out so much. And then you see like Jackie's partner, which is her name is Misty, and you kind of only see her a little bit too, but she seems all fucking human, and especially when you're in a world that's surrounded by these half robot, half people, and it's all kind of fucking, as a corporation-y. No worries. It's all like corporation-y and sort of, like cold. I'm enjoying these moments of humanity.
It's funny. So the moment with Jackie that I enjoyed the most was, again, very early on in the game. And for context, Jackie is this very...
Big brute dude.
Big brute of a man, and he's a mercenary. Like, he's a hard man. And early in the game, you meet up with him after he's spoken to his mum on the phone, and he's like... I'm all flustered, and he's crying a little bit because he's speaking to his mum.
Because he has to lie to his mum about the life that he leads. And that's it. Like, those small moments are really adding a lot here. So in terms of, like, I'm willing... The technical performance stuff we'll get to shortly, but these are the moments that keep bringing me forward.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm like, I want to learn more about Misty. I want to learn more about Jackie. I want to learn more about fucking Jackie's mum. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these little things that are kind of pulling me in. They're really pulling me in some spaces. And that's it. Because then once the world sort of opens up, I'm not going to tell you when. That's the one spoiler I'll give you today, all right? So once the world sort of opens up a little bit, you are bombarded with side shit.
Yeah.
You're like, your phone is just going off and you're getting messages and messages and messages and messages. How can we trust you? That's a good point. Ask Cass in the chat because I just spoil shit. So there's all these characters and like their face comes up when you get a message and it goes like, hey, I'm this person. And I'm like, you look interesting as hell. So like there's so much, like the character work is fantastic.
Have you come to a point where have you had a moment where you're like, oh shit, I think I fucked up here?
In what way?
Just like in general, like I've made a poor decision and Yeah.
Probably only early on when there was like a stealth your way through this. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna shoot everyone.
I had a so there's once the world opens up, there's tons of stuff on your map, and I was driving through Night City, and a ping came up on my map, and it was a police arrest.
Yes.
So I got out of my car and I scanned the police, and it turns out these guys were dirty cops. I'm like, I'm going to help that citizen out. And I walked up to the cop, and he's like, does the standard, piss off, go away, blah, 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 move along. I'm like, no, I'm going to stand my ground. I whip out my pistol, shoot him in the face to save this guy. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because I scouted a little bit before I did this to make sure no one was around. You know those guys, what are they, their SWAT team, what are they called? Like Mad Tech or Mac Trek or whatever it is. 4 of these helicopters just came out of nowhere. SWAT teams dropped from the sky, and they all just absolutely shot I just died straight away. And I'm like, I guess I did that wrong. Well, because where did these guys come from?
Only once have I had police issues, and that's when I was I had to get back to my apartment building because there was a mission to talk to my neighbor or something. So I drive it, and I kind of pull up onto the footpath because I drive like shit because the cars drive like shit. I kind of bump this guy's shins. It's like, oi! I get out of the car and the police are like, you! I'm like, fuck! So I run and they just start shooting at me. And I'm in the elevator I'm like, press the elevator, but you can't initiate the elevator when you've got a wanted level. So I'm like, what am I going to do? If I just blast them, they'll leave me alone. I start blasting them.
And then you get more stars.
Police just spawn in the elevator next to me. Like, some issue, like, some of them start funneling in through, like, the stairs, and then they just keep spawning in the elevator. In terms of technical weirdness, it's like, pop, I'm like, fuck you, boo, and then I just die. Like, it's weird.
So one of the other issues
That's the only time I've ever had police.
The only other issue I'm having is, I've lost my car.
Oh, you get back.
Yeah. So, but in the meantime, I have to walk everywhere.
Sucks
because, for some reason, you need to be, like, the most buff dude in the world to jack people for their cars.
Yeah, you need like a baseline.
And I am a really weak boy.
I do quite like that. This is another spoiler. It's a fucking car. The car is in all of the marketing of this game. It's physically impossible. You think you'd lose in the first 4 hours of the game? Nah, you're kidding, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I had to walk from almost one side of the city to the other because I could not jack any cars, and apparently there's no such thing as a parked car in this game to just steal.
Dude, that is another thing, right? There are like when I lost the car,
and then I called the taxi service, and he's like, "No, you're out of my service area." I'm like, "Are you serious?
What kind of fucking taxi are you?" Like, I'm in the same boat. Like when I lost the car, I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna find a fucking car for a city that's supposed to feel alive and massive. Why is there no one around?" Where was I just in like the quiet district because I couldn't find a fucking car or a person? I don't know whether it was supposed to be that way or not.
I'm like, is there a bus stop near around?
No one. Yeah, I'm like, give me a bus. Can I catch a bus? Nothing. It was fucking dead.
But don't get me wrong, I enjoyed walking because I did some missions over here, gathered some intel for police over here, took down a wanted criminal over there.
Yeah.
I like the way you just kill wanted criminals and then the police just transfer money into your bank account.
Yeah.
You don't even have to prove it. You're just like, I did it. And they're like, okay, here's $3,000.
Sweet. Thanks,
Sweet. Thanks. You get some street cred.
So, how are you once again, because I won't throw any more spoilers in the mix. How are you finding the main campaign and the side missions? Are you feeling that world flesh out?
Yeah, I think they're doing a really good job. There's a nice balance of both gameplay and then giving character development through the likes of just static, not static, what's the word I'm looking for? Just preamble when you're going to missions. So you'll just be sitting in a car and you'll be talking to the other characters as opposed to being in a cutscene with.
Oh, like so relatively organic sort of feeling.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So I think they're doing really well with that. Obviously, I'm not too far in. But there's interesting dynamics that you share with different people depending on your background as well. So there's a few people early on that are corpo workers, and because I picked the corpo background, I find that I get a lot more information out of those characters than what I could of the people with the other backgrounds.
Yeah, so I found that there's it does feel more like there are moments where it does feel quite tabletop RPG in a good way, as in like you don't have the right amount of stats to crack open the door. You know, you don't have like because of your character class, you can't like your essentially your questioning is not very good. Your conversation options are limited, and I quite like that because even in itself the skill tree is quite simplified. Like it's not very like it's straightforward. I say simplified as in it's quite straightforward. It's not overly complicated. Like it does look visually a bit messy, especially when you start getting into like, you know, your handguns and your assault rifle. Like visually it's a fucking mess. But when it's like here, it's almost like, for lack of a better explanation, it's kind of like Fallout Special. It's like there's 6 things.
Yeah.
This is what they work. These are how they work. Stat accordingly.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like example in Special, S is strength, and here it's body. Like it'll give you a health buff. It'll make you stronger. It'll make you able to use guns better. I'm like, boom.
And my body is at 3, which is the lowest I can possibly go. And I cannot shoot for shit, and which is why I also cannot steal cars.
Yeah,
because you need a baseline of 4 apparently.
Yeah, so it's in the same way as a table like a TRPG would be the idea that, you know, the rule set that I'm most used to is Savage Worlds. Mm-hmm. So if you in Savage Worlds, your baseline is a D4.
Yeah,
and you can obviously, as your level progresses or as you stat accordingly, you start using a D6, D8, D10, D20, whatever. So like. It's just like being everything set at D4, and you kind of add some bump to it, and that's where it gets kind of fun. Because you sort of feel that. I feel like I get to spec it a bit more in the way I want to.
Yeah, so
my character's very uncool, but he can fucking jack, and he looks jacked, and he can like.
Yeah, so I've spec'd into what is it? Cool, tech. Basically. Body and reflex are at 3. Everything else is currently at 8.
See, I've gone body and tech.
So I'm
like my cybernetics are pretty mad, and I'm kind of strong and healthy.
So I'm hacker man. I've got like all the perks that allow me to regenerate my RAM in mid combat. So I can blind everyone, run up, shank them, and then keep blinding everyone so they can't see me.
Well, it sounds like you and I are playing completely opposite.
And the other day, last night actually, I got into a situation where there were people waiting for me in an ambush. And I got stuck because I cannot shoot people at all. Because with a lack of body, the gun sway is just insane.
That's gnarly.
So I was just standing there throwing grenades at people. And I also learnt the hard way that cars actually blow up in this game. Because I was hiding behind one for cover and it just blew me up.
See, I like that. That's actually really, really good to hear. Like the guns literally sway.
Oh, it's horrible.
As in, like you're at a noticeable disadvantage.
It's at the point where the only gun I use now is a shotgun, just because you can't miss at point blank range.
Hey, it's a good approach to have.
So I blind people and run at them with a shotty. It's a very dirty way to
see.
fight.
I'm not using my cybernetics all that often.
That's all I use.
Like I use it. Like the reason I picked it was to more be able to hack systems and doors and shit like that. And
so
I'm not using it to really like mess with individuals.
So are you at the level where you can interact with a computer by holding down square and use the computer, or do you just tap square and jack straight in?
Jack straight in.
Yeah. So I'm at that as well. I just jack straight in and then steal all their money.
Yeah. Okay, well, so that's sort of like how we're playing it. It's great in terms of the gameplay. Performance. So as you said, so we're both playing it on PS5s, using the PS4 backwards compatible version. In terms of performance, I have only had very cosmetically based bugs. So unlike yourself, you will get into yours in a second, in terms of the hard crashes, the only things I've had are really small. Like there's a situation early on where Jackie just walks straight through a fucking elevator door.
I had that one.
Oh, good, that's a common one. The other one, which is another one that we both had in common, is there's a mission where an elevator door opened, there's a heavy in there, but for some reason the game wigs the shit out, so he phases in and out of existence. For you, he
was running loops and landing back in the elevator.
Yeah,
so I just kept shooting him when he.
So for me, he just phased in and out. So I just blasted him with a shotgun and he fell over. But obviously because he was not supposed to remain in the elevator, he starts wigging out. Yeah. Like the arms start flailing around. So I'm in the cutscene, I'm talking to Jackie and this hand just comes up in the middle of the screen and goes like, and sort of like synchronized swimmings its way past me. So that was a laugh. Other than that, there's a moment where you meet, I'm in like a meeting with the large black gentleman who you've seen all the gameplay trailers, Deshaun.
Dexter Sean.
Dexter Sean. So he turns around and he walks away. And then as he turns back around, his shirt disappears and it comes back on again. So like he just secretly flashes me some titties and then comes back. And I'm like, that's a good interrogation technique, Deshaun. It's working for me. Because I was streaming, I had the non-nudity version on, just so I didn't get TOS'd. So I have not seen like the boobies through the shirt. I've not seen the pangus out the pants, which is probably a good thing. Yeah. So there are moments where it kind of like dips. Not in terms of, like, a frame's been pretty consistent so far. Resolution has been fine. Like I've not said, like there's been a bit of pop in here and there. An example is sort of early on, like where I'm at now. I've Johnny Silverhand's in my game, and he got a little bit up to my face once, and it kind of didn't look that good, but then it kind of fixed itself really quickly. So like, there are moments where the game looks really, really good, and then there's moments where it looks like it's really, really. Not really, really bad.
It's got like a coat of Vaseline on it.
Yeah. So one thing that was pointed out to everyone, if you go to pushsquare.com, they talk about if you go into the settings and turn off chromatic aberration and film grain, it instantly sharpens everything.
Yeah.
So like they have intentionally tried to put this sort of blur / like a haze over it, either just to sort of give it a more gritty feel, like a visual feel. But when you're running on a lower resolutions like you are on these consoles, it's best to take it off, and you'll get a sharper image because of it. I've only done that this morning, so I've not played any since.
And as Mad Dog pointed out in the chat, there has been hot fixes this morning. At time of recording, there is an update.
Yeah, so 1.04 launched this morning at time of recording, so that's Saturday morning. They have released a bunch of issues a bunch of issues that they've attempted to fix. One of the big ones at launch was like floating guns. So you'd kill an enemy and their gun would remain floating. That was fun. Oh, another one. When you're in a mission, like I've got my gun up into this guy's chin. It just phases through his fucking face. That was awesome.
I got stuck in a hotel room because there was a briefcase floating in front of the doorway that was impassable. It was a solid object just floating there, not attached to anyone or anything.
Yeah. And
it locked me in the room. I couldn't get out. I had to reload the save. It was gone. That was fun.
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I've just had some people like pop in and out. Cars just decide to ram shit.
I've seen videos of you look at people, you look away, you look back, they're all gone.
Yep.
They've just Houdini'd themselves out of existence.
Yeah, like there was like even in one of the early cutscenes, like you're focusing on this, and this guy just appears like, "Hey!"
Oh, I had a cutscene with Jackie where he was eating sushi, and he just put it straight through his face.
One of the first things I really laughed at was you're meeting with this dude at the bar. It's like it's like when you just start the game, and you sit down.
Only
and then,
if you pick Nomad.
No, I picked Street.
Sorry, Street Kid.
Oh, yeah, Street. Oh,
because everyone's starting areas are completely different.
Well, if you play Street Kid and you're sitting in this bar, you meet with this guy, I think like fucking Kevin or something. So, I don't know. He's there, and like as this big dude sitting next to try to intimidate you, but he's like has this burger, has a hamburger, and watching him is funny because obviously he's not going to like the game is designed for him not to remove it, but he just kind of seems to like fucking make love to it for a little bit and then pull away, look at you, and then just like. Because obviously you're not supposed to be looking at him. You're supposed to be looking at the person in front of you. But the second you give a movable camera, I'm like, what's this guy doing? And he's like... he's just like tonguing the shit out of that burger.
Yeah.
And it never gets any smaller. It's awesome. Small detail.
Yeah.
But, I said, I may have been wrong. The game wasn't as garbage as I expected it to be. But it certainly isn't brilliant.
Yeah, if you're playing on a PS4, apparently it's rough.
Yeah, I'd hate to be playing on a base console. I don't know how. So my question...
Which is baffling because this game was designed for PS4.
Yep. So my question, Max. Now, granted, we haven't finished the game yet, so this is kind of this is a preemptive discussion, and we'll readdress this exact question when we do finish the game. Do you believe, from what you've experienced so far, that it should be receiving the 9s and 10s that it is?
No.
No, I don't agree with that.
Because to me, a 10 out of 10 is a game is perfect. There is no bugs. It's not, it runs at a steady pace, so to speak. The story's wild. The gameplay's fun. Like, that's why number system is really weird for me. Because a 5 is the game works.
Yeah, and it's perfect. 5 is the game is average. And everything meets base minimum.
And it's definitely not a 5. Like, the game is better than a 5. But it is in nowhere near a perfect 10.
No, I would completely agree.
If I was to give it, I've said it a few times, an arbitrary number, it'd be a 7.5, maybe 8.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat because
I'm really enjoying the game, but I also have a bias towards its base material, and I'm finding the bugs funny more than an inconvenience.
See, although I don't see a 10 as a perfect, because there is no such thing as a perfect game, but there are games that can deliver exceptionally.
Yeah.
An example being, the game that I always use is God of War. To me, that game is a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
There are minor hiccups here and there, and there's some things that it can certainly improve on, but overall, that game is just so fucking fantastic. It deserves a 10. Here, because if that's a scoring system, a numbered-based scoring system should at least have some objectivity in it.
Yeah.
Understandably, look, reviews are subjective. Reviews will always be subjective.
Granted, for
anyone that says they're not is fucking lying.
We should point out all the places that are giving 9s and 10s are all playing PC versions as well.
Yeah, of course, because no one's done any console reviews yet.
Obviously, that experience is far different to that of the console experience. Because from what we've heard, the PC version has been ready for months, and the delays have all been caused by console.
Pretty much. So, but even then, the PC version is experiencing the same level of bugs and issues. So it's like it may have been finished, but it certainly fucking wasn't finished.
Yeah.
So the point I'm bringing up with that is, I understand a game doesn't have to be perfect to be 10. Otherwise, we'd never see any 10s. But from an objective standpoint, this game does not perform correctly. Granted, bugs in a massive open world like this, bugs are a thing.
Yeah.
But not the frequency that we're seeing them. I understand something might glitch through a wall a little bit here and there, because there's
or some clipping.
There are some things that you simply cannot cater for.
Yeah.
Right? Which makes sense, because you can't QA everything. It's like when with my son, when he plays Spider-Man, because he plays Spider-Man in such a way that no fucking adult ever would, he somehow seems to break the game in ways that just super weird. No, he hasn't played. I'm talking about the old one, PS4 one. Yeah. Because he jumped at a wall long enough, he just fucking phased through the wall, and it's just unless you have someone dedicatedly punching at this wall, you're not going to see it. So, but when you and I are experiencing similar related bugs and problems, then it's not a once-off situation.
Yeah.
So that alone, because of its lack of consistent and good performance, it cannot be a 9. It cannot be a 10. The story can be fantastic. The characters can be brilliant. And that's what I was getting at before. I find the characters fascinating. I'm finding them brilliant. That's the part of the world that I'm enjoying. The city itself, it is not as live or dense as that people are making out. As I said, for a lot of it, there's fucking nobody there. And there are moments when it does feel like a living, breathing city, and that's when you look up and you see the verticality of it and the closeness of it, in the same way of Final Fantasy VII Remake. When you look up and you see that what's the thing above?
The Midgard, the
plates.
The plates, yeah.
Yeah, you look up and you feel that sense of size. And there are moments in here when you feel that sense of size, and you're in a back alley and there's all these minor details like rubbish and things like that. And it's crazy. And when I'm in the back alley of that game, I'm like, this looks so fucking cool. And the neon's going off. There are moments when it can look fantastic, but most of the time it is not a big bustling city. You can compare it to the trailer from E3 2018 or whatever, but I refuse to be that kind of guy, mostly because that was a rendered trailer for that. Granted, it is misleading that the final version isn't that, same as Watch Dogs and every other fucking game before it, but there needs to be a baseline, and a baseline of comparison. And you look at that trailer, you're like, okay, I understand it's not that busy, but why is there no one here? There should at least be people. And I am seeing repeated character models on the street commonly, frequently. Like it's not as if I'm seeing like one person every 20 minutes, like every like hour of gameplay. I'm like, I saw that weird druggy looking dude like 5 minutes 10, 15 minutes ago over there. Like there is obviously understandable, there is a finite number of development they can do. It's in the same way that if you want to get into like the some of the character creation stuff, which I'll probably touch upon, but there's when you're seeing those repeats, like especially in the NPCs, like in when it comes to characters or NPCs, it's interesting. Like there's a diversity in terms of the characters. They all look different. They'll feel different. They'll play. There's a lot of sense of difference. But it's sort of like when you zoom in, you start to see a lot of the same, and that's a detriment of a big open world like this. And I think it's something that they probably couldn't, like, in order just to not be making this game for the next 15 years. They've already done it for like 8 or whatever it was. Like they can't render everything uniquely. There's only so many background characters that they can create, but there needs to be like some sort of algorithmic difference where they'll have a different jacket or a different shirt or something. Like there needs to be something, because I found the same guy with the same jacket and the same face 11 times. You see him constantly everywhere. And that, if you want to talk about immersion breaking, that's it. That's immersion breaking. Yeah. But in terms of the character creation, like one of the big controversies coming into this was around the idea of having the possibility to make the character you want, whether they be binary, non-binary, trans, whatever you want to do. Now, as of right now, like the character that I've created a male character. I didn't go down that route, mostly because that's just not the character. Because when I'm playing the game as I am a male, I played a male. That's how I see it, so I just made me. I didn't make a trans character. I didn't even make a female character. I just made the character that I wanted to play as. So, but looking at those options, aside from having a character that is, apart from, like, if you want to have them have breasts and a penis, there's not much else. Like, granted, you can kind of pick whatever clothes you want, I guess, but even then it's distinct by male and female clothing. Like, for something that's trying to be non-binary and sort of, have that freedom, because that's a big part of Cyberpunk. As a genre, it is like, fluidity at its key, fluidity between, transhumanism, between you and human and machine and male and female and all, whatever. That whole spectrum is open to complete customization. We should. But within the game itself, it is very defined by male and female, because that's the easiest way to do it from a developmental sense. They cannot develop for an entire scale. Like, it's not like it's male and female. If anything, they probably could have fixed it by having a type A and type B. That would have been the easiest way to do it. But
we should point out that your pronouns are based on what voice you pick, not on what genitalia you have. So you can play a full quote-unquote male character, but if you've picked the female voice, they will refer to you as she, her. So you can't even pick that if you wanted to. So it's a very minor thing. As I said, like, I myself, I believe you are the same. We are both fucking straight, middle-class, cis, white dudes, man. We couldn't be any more the fucking majority in this scenario, but, I am, like, I have a number of friends. No, like, so I do work with some people that are part of that community, and we've been discussing this at length, because that's how I want to see it. I want to know how they see it, and for them, it's a situation of, apart from the novelty of being able to pick boobs and a penis, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's kind of, it's not really making a statement.
It's not really engaging in the way that they were promoting it. Now, granted, as that they themselves have admitted, like, you can't physically develop that entire scale, that entire spectrum. Like, you can't pick a voice that is only 80% masculine, I'm just throwing out numbers here. You know what I mean? Like, you can't code for that. It's physically impossible. But they're from the communication, from the conversation that I've had with them, like, there are some minor things they could do that'd be a little bit different that would make a dramatic change. And it's super weird, because, like, there are things in this game where they've really tried to hone that realism to its own detriment. We've come to learn this week with allegedly, I say allegedly because once again we haven't experienced it, where when you do the brain dance sequence, which is when they kind of get you into they stimulate the brain in the game to get into a VR space where they just blow your eyes out. with fucking flashing light, which from some accounts has given seizures.
Well, it's interesting because I'm glad you brought this up, because obviously I'm fairly sure from memory, one of the behind closed doors gameplays that they did for people showed off brain dance. Now you'd think that this would have been picked up a couple of years ago when they did this, but the thing in question is you basically put on what is essentially close to a VR headset, and you have monitors in front of each eye that strobe at you. And it was supposed to be very similar to what an actual diagnostic...
Like an epileptic diagnostic test.
Like a diagnostic tool they use to test for. As Reverend Park pointed out, that has also been quote-unquote fixed in today's patch. So I did that sequence last night. Again, I'm not prone to seizures. It lasts, I don't know how quickly they...
It's like 1 or 2 seconds, not even.
It lasts, maybe 1.5 seconds, and then it's over. But again, I don't have those issues. I don't know how quickly people can be onset by them. And obviously, it is something that really should have been picked up.
Yeah, so the interest...
Because the other main controversy about it was... Most games these days, when you turn them on, there is a big black screen with white text writing that says, hey, if you have epileptic tendencies or you are prone to seizures, there is flashing lights. You should be careful.
The console has the photosensitive epilepsy warning. All games should have it, and my understanding is this game did have it. However, it was worded differently. Like they didn't specify that there was going to be something that would directly induce it.
It's in there, but it's in the end user license agreement that no one reads. I don't think I've ever read it.
Because when I boot the game, it's got at the start, but I presume it wasn't there initially. And they patched it in. My apologies. There you go. So the thing for me is like that should be standard. And here's like this is like I guess I'm sort of staying on a soapbox here. The woman that did it, that pointed it out, that she's claimed this is a win, that they've patched that this one. Like, I'm sorry, they did the bare fucking minimum. Like, she claims that she's got a win here, and yes, she technically has it. Yeah, Liana Rupert, to her credit, she pushed it, she got it in. Well done. CDPR doing that is literally the bare minimum. That she has won, but she really hasn't won.
She shouldn't have had to win.
She shouldn't have had to win. Like, CD Projekt Red just went, we'll give it a fucking warning. And presumably by the sounds of it, they have fixed it, but it's a situation of like, why the fuck is that in there?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the bare minimum is that they went, it's kind of like, if you enter this room, we'll tase you. So we gave you, you come in, you're like, what the fuck did you tase me? Like, we warned you that we're going to tase you. We put it in the agreement. You didn't see it. You know what I mean? It just seems so fucking weird that it's in there. I understand what they were trying to do in the game, but it's fucking weird. Yeah, bare minimum, we'll just hospitalize you. Exactly. I'm not going to get into that too much once again because it doesn't really. It's a situation that it doesn't affect me, but it's more of a situation of.
It should have been picked up by someone.
Yeah, when it's very important for people to fight against things that are fucking weird, or or just fight against particular things. One like this, massive. Because when it's just like, there's another game that was like super realistic, and they were like. Got pulled apart for it, and like, well, that's just going fucking realistic. I don't remember what it was. It's probably one example, but you know what I mean. It's like it's just so weird, but like it's not enough. Not saying that they CD Projekt should be cancelled. It's just like if anything, it's assisting me with my opinion that that CDPR are not the big great fucking company that everyone claims they are. As I said, there's this big narrative that they are the best, that they are the greatest. My agenda, I guess I do have an agenda when it comes to CDPR, but we're seeing it right now. We're seeing that we are seeing that that big fanboy apologetic setup for CDPR. They're like all these bugs. You shouldn't be playing on a PS4. You should be playing on a PC for a game like this. Then don't offer it on PS4. Like, if they are unable to deliver the game that they set out to, that's their problem. That's not something you should apologize for as a consumer. And if they want to talk about how they only need a small amount of crunch to get this done. Now, I've gone on the record about where I stand on crunch. I'm in a weird fucking grey area. because I understand creative fields need crunch, but there's they were promised 3 weeks of crunch, then it became fucking months of crunch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, and then they didn't even get the job done because the game still sucks in terms of performance. So what was that all for? And because of that, and because it's not fixed, and the game is now out there, there is additional pressure for them to complete it.
Yeah.
So,
because I would imagine that work's already begun on the current gen upgrades.
Yeah, and to move into PS5 and Xbox.
Yeah, they're due out next year. CDPR have also announced that The Witcher 3 is getting a current gen bump next year, so they've got a lot of work ahead of them, I would imagine. And I cannot believe we spent an hour on what we've been playing this week, and I still haven't finished mine. The other game I've been playing, just to jump ship from Cyberpunk, is...
Oh, but hang on. So we've got more to talk about Cyberpunk in the time to come. I got real derailed there more about the studio rather than the game, and I guess it doesn't change my opinion of the game. Performance wise, it's still fucked. But for me, I'm having a pretty good time. Characters are great. Story is great. I'm actually really interested in playing more tonight. And like the second I'm done here, I am fucking in there and I'm going to play it more.
You're jacking in.
I'm jacking in. I'm going to play it some more. So my beliefs on CDPR and where they sit, completely separate from the game itself. Quick, because we've got more to come in the coming weeks. Probably have more to say by next week.
100% exactly the same. I love being in that world. I'm loving the characters. I'm loving the narrative, how it's being presented to me. I'm loving all the hilarious bugs that I'm getting. I hope this fix today will solve my hard crash issues, because they only tend to appear when I've been playing for a prolonged period of time, and when I load into a new area, it's like, hey, I need to refresh. There you go.
But let us know what you think of Cyberpunk if you're playing at home. Comments below, whatever. Check them in there.
The only other game I've been playing this week is a game that I platinumed, Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Got its PlayStation 5 upgrade this week. So I deleted the old PlayStation 4 version, installed the PS5 version. It comes with a few more.
Apparently it's so much smaller.
It's about 20 gigs smaller than what it was.
Good.
It's good. So it comes. So the nice new additions that we've gotten is we now have a field of view slider, so you can see more, which comes in really, really handy. There is no adaptive trigger support whatsoever, which is fine. It's fine. It's a third-party studio. Without incentive to do it, I can't see a lot of them actually doing it. The load times are significantly better than what they were. It's now a solid 60 frames per second 4K. When you play PvP in the Crucible, it is 120 frames. It is nice. I'm still loving playing that game. The game's got me back pretty hard. I'm almost back at light level cap. So I may hit Puck up at one point and be like, hey man, can you take me through the raid?
Once again, shout out to the PR team here in Australia for providing Max with the review code for Beyond Light. We should specify that.
Yep.
Full disclosure. But so there is such a noticeable bump into the PS5?
Oh, it is so noticeable. Yeah. So obviously free upgrade to anyone who already owns the game.
Yeah. Sorry, Dash is just messaging Paul in our group chat to heads up that I spoil fucking one moment 2 hours into Cyberpunk. So
Alright,
cool.
So an hour into the show, shall we get to some news, right?
We should. So this is a section called Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Biggest thing to come out of this week, aside from Cyberpunk, is of course the Game Awards, and they did take place on Friday, the 11th of December for us. I watched it at work. Did you watch it live?
I didn't.
You could have been sleeping.
I didn't. I watched a very quick recap afterwards because I basically looked at who won the big one and went, and then continued on with my day. I think the biggest exciting news for me that came out of Game Awards isn't even PlayStation related, but Sephiroth is coming to Smash.
Yeah.
Super keen for that. Love it. So anyway, Game Awards happened yesterday at the time of recording. Last of Us 2 took home the big game of the year. Also took home game direction, narrative, audio design, innovation and accessibility, best action adventure game, and Laura Bailey deservedly took home best performance as Abby.
It's weird. Like I was knowing that we've got our game of the years next week.
Spoiler: Last of Us 2 is not my game.
I don't think it's mine. Like, it's weird. Like, I was going through my list. I was thinking back over this year. And, like, for many things, The Last of Us is exceptional.
I completely agree that game direction, audio design, innovation for accessibility, yes, it 100% unquestionably deserves those.
Yeah, so accessibility, I agree. Laura Bailey as Abby, I think part of that pick was just to like shit on everyone, shit on all the haters. But like the game of the year, it's tough because right now, whether it be my own cynicism or my like depression towards this year, I'm looking at this list of games. I'm like, nothing has got me excited. Like if I think back to last year and I look at the games that I played, and I'm like, I could tell my top 3 so easy. Where here I'm like,
I mean, for me last year, Death Stranding was just a complete standout from everything.
Yeah, the second I played Death Stranding, I'm like, oh fuck, this is it.
Shout out.
And the year before was God of War. I'm like, nothing's gonna beat this.
Shout outs to Final Fantasy. They took home best score
and best RPG.
Yep. Shout out to what I thought was going to win way more awards. Animal Crossing got best family game.
Yeah, well, at least it didn't win best.
Taking home the Nintendo tradition of best family game.
Yeah, at least it didn't being best multi, because multi fucking sucks in Animal Crossing. That was my funnest thing. Like, we're watching it, and none of us were really paying attention. It was kind of on in the background while we're doing some paperwork stuff. And we hear the nominees for best multiplayer, and they go through the list. And then one of my other colleagues, Heidi, from out of nowhere, she goes, "Oh, the fucking Animal Crossing multiplayer sucks. How did it get nominated?" I'm like, yeah. But like there are like. Although I have really enjoyed making fun of everyone getting mad about it on Twitter, because honestly, who fucking cares? Like, what they deem as the game of the year is completely different to you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take away the game for you. What you believe that your game of the year is what counts.
I should point out that the Player's Choice Award for Game of the Year went to Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I think Ghost of Tsushima sucks. Well, it doesn't suck. I think it's not very good, but it's not my game. It's not my game. Yeah. And that's cool. I don't think that Player's Choice is wrong because I didn't like it.
He also didn't vote, so.
I also didn't vote. And even if I did, who if I know what I would have voted for? Like, because I look at that top 5, I'm like, I wouldn't mind playing Hades if it was on PS4, but it ain't. So a PS5 didn't touch it, you know?
So as well as the awards themselves, obviously we got a few more announcements of upcoming titles coming to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. These, because full disclosure,
can you pass me? I'm gonna have a quick look at some of the chat.
Full disclosure, I didn't watch the show, so these are not in order of coming out. First up, we got Returnal. Returnal was announced earlier this year. It's a new roguelike game from Housemarque. Over on the PlayStation blog, it talks about the PlayStation 5 key features it'll be using. Quote, super fast loading times are basically a given at this point, but the DualSense's haptic feedback will be used to convey the natural ambience of this alien planet, as the controller mimics its environmental effects. Sounds interesting. The controller's triggers are being put to good use as well. Squeeze the L2 button down about halfway to aim down the sights of your weapon, but if you press the L2 button completely down, it'll activate the gun's alternate fire mode. It's going to be annoying. I don't know if I like that. That's going to be confusing.
Yeah, because your body's natural response to pull that shit full.
Additionally, 3D audio sounds like it'll take immersion to the next level. Haveri says we should prepare to be, quote, haunted by the environmental ambience.
Yeah. So before we jump in a bit more on Returnal, just to go back through the chat, as you know, we record this bad boy on Twitch. Buddy brings up the Oscars as an example. He goes, yeah, because it's not about popularity. Because if it was, like, last year or the year before, whatever it was, Avengers Endgame should have won. Which is true, because that was the most successful movie of all fucking time. It should be movie of the year and win, but it didn't, because the people that vote for, people that make those awards, they don't, like, it's not about that dollar value. The PlayStation Partner Awards that took place last week, they are objective awards.
Yeah.
Here is your award for being the best-selling PlayStation game of this year, because we have number to back it up.
Yeah.
So if they say that's the best-selling game, they can't argue it because it's data. And when you're around the Game Awards or even any sort of awards, like our awards that we'll pick next week, they don't fucking mean shit. Even if we ran our own Game Awards, it also spoilers mean shit.
Can you stop spoilering things this week?
No. You know what I mean? So it's all good. But Returnal looks dope. Like it looks
awesome.
It looks like Housemarque's twin stick shooting in a 3-dimensional space.
So it with the newest trailer, it also came with a release date, 19th of March, 2021. So we won't have to wait too long to play. Yeah. Next up, we had Mass Effect. So BioWare is taking Mass Effect away from Andromeda and back to the setting of the original trilogy. A shock trailer for what's been labeled, quote, the next Mass Effect, played during the Game Awards, showing a destroyed Crucible, and I've never played a Mass Effect game. Is it Lyra?
I don't fucking know.
Apparently Lyra was there on a snowy planet, and she picks up a shard of the N7 armor.
What an absolute wank of a teaser.
I have zero interest in this game, I must admit.
Yeah. What an absolute wank of a teaser.
No, you want to know wank of a teaser?
Yeah, BioWare.
Another BioWare trailer. Dragon Age 4. We knew it was coming. This one at least was not just concept art like the Dragon Age's previous showing. It's a full CG trailer.
It's not just concept art. It's a concept video.
So it's a CG trailer showing off some characters and locations, with an official summary of, quote, the world of Dragon Age needs a new hero, someone who can take on the evil forces threatening Thetis. Get a first look at some of the new locations you'll discover and the factions fighting by your side in the next chapter of Dragon Age. After what we reported last week with it losing its game director and someone else, I'm very concerned about this game.
What, and the fact that they're like, we'll show you something in Game Awards. What'd you show? Nothing. So I like that they're going the whole Doom approach and then just calling it Dragon Age.
Yeah.
No subtitle. Well, I guess seeing as the first one was Dragon Age Origins, it's less confusing, I guess. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Sorry, Buddy also adds, what's most popular or isn't always quality. It's very true.
Next up, we have the Callisto Protocol.
Oh, this looks like fucking Dead Space.
This is the creators of Dead Space. Yeah. They teamed up to create a new studio named Striking Distance Studios to create a new survival horror experience for the PlayStation 5 arriving in 2022. Quote, set on Jupiter's moon, Callisto in the year 2320. I don't know why it took me so long to get there. The Callisto Protocol is a next-generation take on survival horror. The game challenges players to escape the maximum security Black Iron prison and uncover its terrifying secrets. A blend of horror, action, and immersive story playing, the game aims to set a new bar for horror in interactive entertainment.
See, the moment that I thought that it was going to be something Dead Space is when they show the character and he's got like a health bar on his neck. Like he has this little hollow thing on his back, and I'm like, oh, wait, didn't Dead Space have like the health bar on a backpack? This could be Dead Space, and of course Dead Space is not fucking happening. But no, when later on when they're like, oh yeah, this is the team from Dead Space, I'm like, yes.
Did you take the next one?
Next one was Evil West, which I originally thought was more Desperados. Evil West is the new game from people behind Shadow Warrior. It's coming to the PS5 and the PS4. You play as a vampire hunter aiming to push back the forces of evil in the Old West. It looks like protagonist Jesse Rentier will make use of guns and more exotic weaponry, like Wolverine claws and even lightning to dispatch these beasties. You'll be able to play in either single player or co-op, and it is published by Focus Home and due out sometime next year. The trailer was kind of cool.
Yeah, it
was interesting. Open Road. So Fulbright Games developer of Gone Home and Tacoma revealed its next title at the Game Awards, which we were talking about. So you just copy and paste that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Open Roads is its name, and it's coming to PS5 and PS4. Quote, long lost family secrets, hints of a hidden fortune, and miles to go before they sleep. Tess Devine's relationship with her mum has never been easy, but they're about to set out together on a journey into the past that they'll never forget, starring Kerry Russell and Caitlin Dever. So they're like driving down this road together. It's like kind of interesting. There's like it's almost like a road. It feels like it should be a road trip movie, but the entire thing is set within a car, and it sounds very like conversational. That sounds fucking mad. I love that.
So I think Reverend Park put in the chat that the game we were talking about before, what was it? The Callisto Protocol is apparently set in the same universe as PUBG. Somebody said
PUBG. That's weird.
Yes, PUBG.
What? How? PUBG has its own shared universe? What the fuck is this?
Apparently there's a Kotaku article.
The PUBG CU? What the fuck?
Next up was Season, as was a very interesting looking game. So over on the PlayStation blog, Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let yourself be carried away by the journey of Season, a third-person atmospheric adventure bicycle road trip game. The premise of Season is that you play a traveler recording the last moments of different cultures before they're washed away. Through the eyes of a young woman from a faraway village, you explore the world for the first time.
This couldn't be any more not a Betson game. I saw the trailer, I'm like, and I'm out.
I thought it looked alright.
It looked interesting. Like the
it sounds very depressing.
Yeah, like the art style was cool. It looked great, but it had that weird like because the character had glass, had that weird almost like Sin City kind of, and it kind of wigged me out. This one looked interesting though. Evil Dead, the game. I originally thought it was like a Dead by Daylight expansion or like Friday 13th, something like that. Saber Interactive and Boss Team Games, who did World War Z, announced a new cooperative multiplayer game based on the Evil Dead franchise. Quote, based on the Evil Dead franchise and characters created by Sam Raimi, Robert Tappert, and Bruce Campbell, the game casts players against the forces of evil that have been unleashed from the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, with sights and sounds inspired by the films The Evil Dead, The Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and The Army of Darkness, as well as the Starz originals Ash vs. the Evil Dead TV series, the release reads. It continues, work together as a team of 4 survivors, exploring, looting, crafting, managing your fear, and finding key artifacts to seal the breach between worlds. Or take control of the powerful Kandarian demon to hunt Ash and his friends while possessing Deadites. The environment and even the survivors themselves, as you wait, what? You moved it? Oh, me out. Ash and his friends while possessing Deadites. The environment and even the survivors themselves, as you seek to swallow their souls. The game is due out in 2021 on both PS5 and PS4.
So it sounds like it could be one of those
it is
asymmetrical one before.
So it is an asymmetrical multi, which is cool. I guess, you know, with the success of like Friday the 13th, you know, stuff like that, and I guess Predator, Evolve didn't fucking do well either. All right.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Shady Part of Me, which was revealed and launched on the PlayStation Store, was revealed at the Game Awards and launched straight away on the PlayStation Store. This debut title from the French team, my French is terrible, José Diximez, maybe, is both a 2D and 3D puzzler, all about a girl and her shadow learning to overcome all manner of obstacles. It's a very cheap little indie game. I think it's about $20.
Yeah, like $20.
Really cool.
This one is interesting if you're a fan of that. So Back for Blood, Turtle Rock Studios, the creators of Left 4 Dead and Evolve, they announced their new zombie shooter. It's dripping with Left 4 Dead vibes. Oh, yeah. Like, it is literally Left 4 Dead with a new name. Even down to the 4 in the middle of it. It's great. Coming to both PS5 and the PS4, the game is looking like the classic co-op shooter, offering an almost old school experience. You shoot zombies in the head with their buddies, and there's blood and gore everywhere. There's big ass enemies, and it's set for a release on 22nd of June 2021. That is absolutely mad. It looks awesome. The zombies look great. I had a real bit of a hard on watching this.
Next up, we've got Disco Elysium coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 next year in March, with an upgrade for PS5 running at 4K 60, and this will be essentially a definitive edition. I think they're calling it something a little bit differently.
Final cut
or something like that. So it will include a few extra additions, a couple more missions, stuff like that.
See, I'm interested in this because last year, obviously, it won big. Everyone praised the shit out of it for it being a really cool, it's like a CRPG technically. Yep. But I wouldn't play it on PC because I don't play games on my PC. So, knowing this coming to console, I'm like, oh, hello.
Yep. Scarlet Nexus was next. We received a new trailer, and we also got word from publisher Bandai Namco confirming a release window of summer 2021.
This is a fucking max game if I've ever seen one.
Yep. Next up is a game I'm actually super interested in. Hood, Outlaws and Legends. Received a reveal date trailer coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 on the 10th of May 2021. Currently available for pre-order with the incentive of 3 days early access. So that's one of those. I think it's like
that Robin Hood duel.
It's Rainbow Six Siege, but yeah, Robin Hood.
Yeah, isn't that one where it's two narratives going on at once, and you're both spawning a thing?
Yeah, you both spawn as enemy teams, but you're both trying to steal the one objective. So it's kind of like King of the Hill. style gameplay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Next one was Joseph Fares returns with It Takes Two, not the song by Fat Man Scoop, sadly. So he and the team over at Hazelight have once again teamed up with EA to publish this title. You'll play as the clashing couple who have been transformed into dolls due to a magical spell. Despite not being on the best terms, they need to work together to return to their human form. I love it. It looks fucking dumb, and I'm so
like a horrible game to play with a partner.
Yeah, so like it shout out to Joseph Fares. Joseph Fares has continued that multiplayer built-in campaign. So very similar to what was it called? The prison one he did last year. A Way Out, where you, like the only way to play it is with a friend. But the same thing here. It's like you buy it once, you get a friend code. It looks awesome. It's great. I love it. It's charming. I'm watching this being like, because it's going over all these different environments, all these different enemies, all these different scenarios. I'm like, how the fuck are they going to string this all together? And I am so in. How many more games we have left? Because like we're really run over.
We're almost done with the Game Awards.
Yep.
Next up we had Crimson Desert. Pearl Abyss showed off first gameplay trailer for Crimson Desert. Crimson Desert is a game set within the same universe as the popular MMO Black Desert Online. It's a big open world action adventure with both single player and online multiplayer aspects. The trailer goes over things such like the setting of the game, the fictional continent of Pywell, combat, and its gameplay. You play as a character named Macduff, and you'll gather up a group of mercenaries to help fight for his cause.
Suds Macduff.
This is scheduled to launch winter 2021.
Couldn't care. Finally, Oddworld Soulstorm is releasing in Macduff Man. Oh, yeah. Coming out spring 2021 on PS5 and PS4, as we know. Oddworld inhabitants confirmed the date as part of an all-new trailer. And that's everything. That was everything that was revealed at the Game Awards, because we all
to PlayStation.
We all know the Game Awards is primarily a place to fucking just advertise your games that are coming out. Although there is nothing here that really was for Betson.
The Dead Space game.
That caught my attention, but once again at work, people were like shitting their pants in terms of Sephiroth, as were you.
That was the biggest announcement for me.
But
was a Smash character.
Like for me, there was nothing. There was like no PS first party stuff. Like there's nothing that we didn't like.
Well, so I had this
blows down doors.
I had this conversation with friend of the show Noodle the day before, and he's like, "Do you think we'll see Horizon, God of War, anything like that?" And I said, "Not really. Sony tend to want to reveal their own stuff on their own terms, and they've been like that for quite some time." So I went in not expecting anything.
Yeah, same. Like, I agree with that. And like knowing that it was going to be a scaled back version of the awards. They announced that the initiative, which is the big quadruple A studio, quote unquote, from Microsoft, the one that they were building for this gen, is doing a Perfect Dark game. I was say remake, but it's not. It's a brand newie. Which, a couple things. One, you have a brand new fucking studio that's supposed to be this big, huge thing, and you use Perfect Dark. Why not new IP?
Excuse me, Perfect Dark is fantastic. It deserves another game. But
are you gonna throw your biggest fucking studio that you have on it?
Maybe.
Like, yeah. I understand. I understand why they would do it. It's a known IP, but all you're doing is selling to an older base.
How do you feel then about? I don't think this was Game Awards news, but this came out very close to it. The launch window for Halo Infinite is literally 1 year after the launch of the console.
That's concerning. Like, that's horrifying. Not like for me as someone that's. Max mic is off.
Is it still working? It sounds like it's still working on our end.
Yeah, it should still be working.
That's odd.
Can you talk?
Yeah, it's still picking me
Yeah, it's coming in. Weird. Now it's okay. Oh, he must have bumped the cord.
May have kicked the cord or something.
So it's more concerning. Be like, how'd they fucking expect to release it this year? Yeah. And like, once again, COVID. They can't have like it has been discussion the last like 6 months or whatever is always the most intense. But if they had originally intended, like, how fucked were they at the start of this year?
I mean, to be fair though, a lot of the reason for their delay was they showed the trailer they had, and their fans went like, no, that's not good enough.
Yeah, which means either they had really low expectations and they're like, this will do. They'll buy it anyway. Or like they're like, oh fuck, we got called out. We should probably fix it. Like both of those scenarios ain't good. Ain't good. But yeah, nothing that really jumped out to me from Game Awards. But once again, it's not about me. Surprisingly, So sure, good enough. So in PlayStation news, Spoodzaman. Also, I will still mention that it's still fucking weird that Jeff Keighley hosts it, because not that he's a bad host, but because he's running it, when you're watching him, you can see he's always cogging at like what's coming next and what's new. So it never really feels like he's in the moment.
Yep.
So when he sits there and reads it, he's like, okay, so here's the award for best independent game, and the winner is Blur. Moving along, moving along. So like because he's constantly on that pushing forward part of his brain, I almost feel like it's a disservice to the to the awards themselves, because he's just like, all right, and moving along. Where a host would give it a minute or make a comment or do something, where he needs to be in guerrilla, as using wrestling terms. He needs to be in guerrilla. He needs to run it from there and do that. Like, get someone else to host it. They had a woman sort of be like a side host, which was great, but they need a dedicated separate host. Back to PS5 news. Spoodman, Miles Morales. So Insomniac have come out this week, and they've essentially added a brand new mode, an updated performance mode to the PS5 version. So you can now play on the performance mode at 60, as you already could before, but it also has ray tracing. So previously the performance mode only did frames. That was it. Yeah. Where now it's kind of been bumped up to essentially be fidelity mode, but without the frame rate.
Yes.
So with an increased frame rate. So play performance mode, everyone. Like, if you weren't, like, now in my New Game Plus, I'm playing, and it's fucking awesome. And we kind of covered all that, didn't we? Did.
So an update from last week: newly minted Naughty Dog co-president Dr. Uckman has commented on his promoted role at the company. He said that he'll continue, quote, writing and directing at the studio while helping to mentor the next wave of creators. And he also congratulated the newly appointed Alison Mori and Christian Gerling in their new roles as VPs.
So this is like, the reason we brought this in as an update is because last week we were sort of speculating about like, what's he going to do? Like, will he still have a creative involvement when he moves to president and a co-president? Sorry. So it looks as if he's still going to be heavily involved in whatever Naughty Dog are doing moving forward. So if you're a fan of what he does and what he has to say, which I've come to learn, not many people are. Well, the vocal minority of the internet are not. I appreciate you going with Dr. Uckman rather than Neil Cuckman, because people are so fucking original.
I mean, Dr. Uckman is his Twitter handle. So.
Yeah, and it's also his character in Last of Us on Cards. Yeah. I'm very excited because I do think he is such a important part of what Naughty Dog has transitioned to over the last, since Uncharted 3 and onwards, I guess. You want to do quick biddies?
Yeah, I'll do quick biddies. Yeah. So quick bits, MPD numbers, PS5 units sitting at between 1.1 million and 1.3 million units sold.
That's pretty massive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether that was internationally or just the US though.
Masterchief is coming to PlayStation platforms thanks to Fortnite.
Who would have thought?
On the heels of Kratos joining the Battle Royale, Master Chief has entered the fray.
It's like
the announced trailer for his, because I watched it last night when I played a game of Fortnite.
Hanging freezer.
Sucked compared to Kratos's.
Yeah.
Kratos was awesome, and then Master Chief just steps out of a freezer in a store and he's like, I'm here now, and he just runs off. Cool, I guess.
As I said last week, Fortnite is...
The rumor has it that Nintendo's playing too, and Samus is going to be in there. And out of those three, I'm not going to lie, I'll probably buy Samus.
Yeah. As I said last week, Fortnite is it is the gaming unifier. It is the one product that can bring all of it together. And it's frustrating because I'm not good at the game, so I don't play it.
You don't want to floss as Kratos?
Not that. Yeah, that part was weird. But I mean, like, it's if anyone that is a fan of games or a fan of popular culture, which we are, it's so cool.
Yeah,
because it's like a crazy Smash Brothers but Fever Dream, like Ready Player One with its level of fucking references to everything. So like when you go into if you were to go into a match and you see like Wolverine and fucking Batman and John Wick and like fucking Kratos, like what the fuck is all of this? But it also, like, on paper that sounds so good, but it's also so much money.
PlayStation 4 firmware update 8.03 is now live.
Oh, it does more stability, I guess.
No, it adds in the ability to mute party chat in an option somewhere.
Cool.
Sure
I'm just going to put this out. In the next firmware update, can they just minimize, like, remove how many fucking sub-menus there are in this console? Just to get to, like, when you sent me a message last night to show me that video, it took me 5 steps to get to your message. 5.
Is that because you missed the prompts and you didn't just hit the button?
No, because when you sent me the video, it was still processing, so I had to wait for it to stop processing. So I had to go back to my game, and then I came back a couple minutes later. 5 steps. Open up the bar. Go to Game Base. Open Game Base. Go to Max. Open Max's messages. I can't just go like, go to Game Base, scroll across, go to messages. Do you want a quick message match or quick message max? Open the message. Fucking open the message. It is unnecessarily difficult to just fucking operate this console sometimes. When you want to do some certain things are incredibly simple, incredibly intuitive, yet there is some things that are just so fucking hard for no reason. Just like turning off the console. Why is that harder than it should be?
It's really not.
It's frustrating for me.
It's really not. Anyway, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time apparently needs more time and has been delayed to the 18th of March, 2021.
Oh, well done for that. That was awesome.
Project Athia will be a PlayStation 5 exclusive for at least 2 years. That's the new game coming, published by Square Enix.
Some of those spacesuit looking dude, isn't it?
No. So it's the one that looks very Final Fantasy, that I thought was going to be Final Fantasy, and then they announced Final Fantasy. I don't know what you are now.
Am I still holding down that home button, Ask Dash? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot, and I've got muscle memory like crazy.
And GTA Online is adding 250 songs and 3 brand new radio stations to get your Twitch account banned.
Yeah. See, this is mad because, like, with an ongoing game like GTA Online is now, it's important that they keep updating it like this. So it's absolutely fantastic. And obviously something's happening because no one's fucking playing GTA this week, apparently. Because this is the top 10 best-selling games in Australia on the PS4 for the week ending the 6th of December. It is the following. Number 10, The Last of Us Part 2. Number 9, Marvel's Spider-Man. Number 8 is Red Dead Redemption Deuce. Number 7 is Immortals Phoenix Rising. Mid-game. Number 6, Ghost of Tsushima. Can I point out that, like, once again, at the Game Awards, it is Ghost of Tsushima. Jeff Keighley's like, yeah, Ghost of, whatever the other, like, I can't, because I've corrected myself to it to be correctively Tsushima. Like, it's
as
like,
opposed to
Tsushima. I'm like, he should fucking know, right?
Yeah, but he runs it, so he don't care.
No, like I don't really. As I said, I don't really care for the game, so I don't know why I care.
Is that why I didn't win Game of the Year?
Yeah, just because no one could pronounce it properly. Everyone kept voting for it wrongly. Number 5, NBA 2K21. Number 4, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 3, FIFA 21. Number 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Yeah, apparently GTA 5 went on holidays.
For the first time in actual, I'm going to say pretty much what feels like years, GTA 5 isn't a top-selling game in Australia. This is insane. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy times, Max. And so in terms of, this is now a session called Coming to the Players. We tell you about what games are coming out this week.
According to my research, it is just Override 2, Super Mech League coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 December 22nd. It's not even this week.
So it's actually the week after. I think there's like an MGP or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's not a lot. It's December. It's similar. This is the time where you play games you should have already played. Or you play Cyberpunk, I guess. But anyways, that does bring us to the end of the show. Big thank you to everyone that joined us today and listened to us talk about fucking Cyberpunk for an hour. If for a show that's supposed to only be about an hour long, about an hour of it was just Cyberpunk. And we'll only have more to come.
Yeah.
More to say coming weeks. Oh, good show this week, man.
It was pretty good.
I fucking enjoyed this show this week. Felt good. Felt good. Oh, and also, it's Cass. Thanks for the spoilers. Yeah, about that.
Yeah, I can't believe you
Look,
did that.
it's one spoiler and it's less than 2 hours in. Calm your shit.
Yeah, guys, come on. You've had...
If you care so much about...
You've had 2 whole days to play 3 hours for Cyberpunk.
Exactly. You've had 2 days to play 3 hours. Calm your shit. All right?
I want to point out I only saw that scene last night, so I'm super glad that I'm where I'm at, because otherwise...
It's fine. If you care so much about Cyberpunk, you're probably already playing it. Right? So, fucking chill, bro. Chill. Can't wait to talk to Paul about this. Paul hasn't started playing it yet. I spoke to Paul this morning because I'm going to his place tomorrow to do the plate swap. And he's like, yeah, I haven't played it yet.
Good. Tell him not to watch the show this week, I guess. Or tell him to watch the show. I don't know. How mad will he be?
I don't fucking know.
Is he one of those, like...
He's reasonable. He's probably nice.
He's reasonable. You'll get there and your purple plates will be like...
Scratch.
It'll be like this key mark.
Look, look, I did drop a very mild spoiler.
I wouldn't say it's... Okay,
It's a pretty fucking
there's a
mild
bigger spoiler that you could have dropped that you didn't.
Which I didn't. Because that one would be bum.
Oh, that's where you draw the line.
Yeah. Because that spoiler would change the whole thing of the game. Maybe right now I'm talking about it too much. Anyways, to the outro.
Anyway, this spoiler cast happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast. No, this PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations and yell at Ryan about his spoiler warnings, please check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter. His links are in the description below.
If you want to hear the spoilers as they happen, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist.
Do not at me.
Where you can hear those spoilers live. We record every Saturday at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. You can come in, be part of the chat, yell at me. It's all part of the fun. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening to us on the podcast service, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you are on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, and when we do our Game of the Year, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
See you then. It's not that bad of a spoiler.